Hi YouTubers, PhoenixTalon back with you again for another Creativerse tutorial. So yeah, let's go and take a look at what we got going on here. Oh boy, it's the arc sign. Woo! Okay, so I've been getting a lot of requests to do the arc sign. Alright, so first let's just jump right into it head first. To build the arc sign, this is all you need. You need some obsidian rods, couple of them. You need a couple arc stones, couple of globs of goo, and one obsidian slab. So pretty easy to make. Now, you'd say, well, wait, that's a lot of obsidian. Well, yeah, okay, it is. Arc stones, yeah, you can just kill a lot of keepas. Globs of glue. Words. Okay, you know what? The green stuff right there. That's not that hard to get. Just about anything will drop it. So you just got to get some of that. Or you can use some mold or whatever you want to do. All right, there's a lot of confusion over the arc sign. Let me tell you right now, though. It's about the same as a normal sign. So when you place it down, here, let's go ahead and do that real quick. So when you place it down, this is what you're going to get first off. Okay, it's going to be just like this. Input, you can see it from the front and the back. You can bury this under stuff, you know, shift click. Oh, I was going to try to shift click over top of it. There you go. You know, you can put it under stuff, whatever. You know, it builds on stuff. You can rotate it. Let's rotate it. So you can get a whole bunch of different, you know, looks that you're going for. It's a very good little sign. Now, where people I think are getting confused are all the little commands. Because, you know, signs themselves were not relatively, understood or explained very well. So let me go ahead and go over some stuff that's more like a regular sign, and then we'll get into what all this input junk means. So get out your nifty-difty wiring tool. And I'm going to just double click on mine, but you can also press N to enter it like that. Double click and it'll get you the same thing. All right, and then you've got all this business here with all these inputs. Now, enabled, what does that mean? Well, enabled means that's what you're going to use to turn it on or off. So let's look at that real quick. That's this top one here, enabled. You can right click, it turns it on and off, which is really cool. That makes this a very powerful sign, especially when you want it to go on and off based on a sensor, signal, or something like that, which I'll show you, or a switch. So there's a lot of things that you can do to this to make it, you know, pretty awesome. Okay, and there's a lot, let me tell you, there's a lot of things you can do with this. All right, so then you got your input 1, 2, 3, and 4. These are the different inputs that you can get, and you can get information out of these inputs. You can use the inputs to put numbers onto your sign if you want, either from a number pad or from a switch. Now here's the thing about switches or other devices. They will only give you a 0 or a 1 signal. Now you're like, wait, this is too much, too fast, too soon. Okay, let's back up. Let's get rid of all this. Let's pretend like none of this input stuff matters, and we'll get to that. All right, first off, how is this like a normal sign? All right, well, let's say you've got some text. There we go. So I got some text. Now I want to go ahead and maybe make this bigger. Now what you could do classically with this is you could go ahead and put your little, you know, thingies, you know, those thingies. Yeah, the thingies, man. And then you could type in size, and you could say equals some size. Let's say 4. Okay, that's going to make it bigger. So hit save. And if you look, it made it bigger. Not all that unusual. Now, I'm glad it's starting to get dark, so we'll be able to see this a lot better. So don't worry about the darkness. I'm safe where I'm at. All right, so it makes it bigger. Now you're saying, well, wait, hold on. I've tried doing this before, and it did some weird stuff. Like, for example, the new way of doing it is to put a slash after the commands that you're using. But look, it made it huge. What in the world happened? Well, because it doesn't recognize what it is. It needs a decimal. So it's adding a 0 on its own. So you put 4.0, and now all of a sudden it's back to normal. So if you're going to use the slash after a command like size, you need to make sure you add a decimal and something, okay? Otherwise, it's not going to work. Trust me, it won't. This is going to become important later when we start talking about adding in inputs, okay? So first off, that's the biggest change, okay? You can still use size, 4.0 as a matter of fact, and no change. It's just that if you're going to put a slash after it, you need to have a decimal, okay? So that's one big change. All right, next, let's go ahead and talk about color. Color is a big one. All right, so you could do color equals red, okay? So color equals red, not a problem. We understand that. Okay, now what happens if we do the slash after that? Well, unfortunately, this is not one of those commands that you can use the slash after, and you're going to get an error. Okay, so you don't want to use the slash for that. All right, well, what else could we do? Well, let me show you this one. All right, so color equals. Now, you don't type in a color equals, you just type in a hashtag or the pound sign or the sharp sign or whatever you want to call it. But what we're about to do is we're about to enter in a hexadecimal number, okay, or a number string. Now, what is hexadecimal? Well, put simply, it is a number or counting method whose radix point is F. Meaning, if we think about decimal numbers, 0 through 9, our radix point is 9. You can't go any higher than 9 because then you're 10, and that means you move over a spot. So then 9 becomes a 0 again. Boom, you pop a 0 into a 1, right? Well, with hexadecimal, it's the same thing, except now from 9, I can go to A, B, C, D, E, and F. And that gives me my 16 digits from 0 to F. After F, it becomes 0, and then you kick the next one over to 1. Okay, so the way colors work is you get 3 hexadecimal pairs. So in our case, let's go ahead and try something fun. We'll do 1, 1, FF, and let's do, I don't know, 25. 25. Let's have fun with it. All right, and that gives us a nice, good green color. All right, and you're saying, well, wait, how did you know what numbers to enter? Well, here's the thing. What I did was enter 2 numbers that are low in value, and in the middle section, I know that that's the one for green. So, for example, let's go ahead and get rid of that. We'll make that 1, 1. We'll make this FF, and then watch what happens. Now we've got our red color back, okay? But this is going to give us another shade of it as well. So you can go 1, 1 here, and you're going to get a different red, okay? So there you go. Now, here's the thing to keep in mind about this, is you can enter in multiple of these, and you're going to get different colors as you go. All right, so these are your hexadecimal values. Okay, so this is going to also be important when we start talking about inputs. Okay, so that's one. Actually, I can just leave that up there. It doesn't matter. Let's do this, and we'll do letters in there. There you go. So look at that. You get some interesting things. If you max them out, you're going to get different values. If you lower them all the way, I think you get black if you go 0, 0, 0. There we go. Is that 6? I think that's 6. There you go. Now you get your black. There you go. So you can get a whole bunch of stuff that you want. If you want white, I think it's all Fs. So let's take a look at that. Bam. There you go. See, it's pretty easy. Okay. So just, you know, there are websites out there that you can go look at hexadecimal values. You know, just have fun with it. Go look them up and see what you want to get out of it. Okay, so there you go. So that's a way that we can do color. Now that's going to be important here in a little bit. Now let's say with old signs. Let's say I wanted to put this text way up. Okay, like way up there. Well, one of the things that you could do was you come down here, and since we can do multiple lines, I'm doing that so it makes it easy for you to see. Otherwise, we'd put it all on the same line. And as near as I can tell, these messages, the output message, so far, I haven't found a limit to it. But I'm sure there is one. I just don't know. I've put in a lot of strings of text into this thing, and I just got tired of pressing or holding the button down. Okay, so there you go. So let's say I wanted to make this, you know, way up there. What I could do now is after entering in all my text, I could enter in a size. This is old signs, and it still works on these. Size equals 25. Okay. Then come over here, and to get a new line, you do \n. Okay, \n. Now what that does is it basically is like hitting the return key. Okay. So what you could do, oh, and I almost forgot, sometimes you need to have another one here. Otherwise, it does something janky with the words. Okay, so this is going to give us a couple of returns. All right, so hit save, and it's going to pop it way up there. Okay, so that's really cool because it still works with these signs. However, that being said, there is a new way of doing it. But I want to show you one other thing that you could do here. Okay, so let's say we don't want this to pop up there. Okay, let's get rid of that. We want it to be way lower. Now you're saying, well, how are we going to show that because you're right on the ground? Well, I can rotate it so you can see where it went. All right, so we're going to come down here. Sorry, up top rather. Why can I not? There we go. All right, and what I'm going to do is we'll do the same thing. Size equals, let's say 10, just so we pop it down only a little. Then I'll come over here and hit new line. Now we already have a size here that lowers it back down to the size we want, and it's already got our text. All right, so if we save it, oh, did I forget to do a new line? I may have. Okay, size 10, new line, size 4, new line. I think that was the error that we were getting before. Yeah, that was the error that we were getting before. And that's why it's a good thing we have the new offset. Remembered one of them didn't work. This was the one that didn't work anymore, I think. Here, let me try a bigger one. Let's see. Just to make sure before it calls me a liar. Yeah, okay, that was the one we were getting that didn't work. Good, all right. Whew. I remembered one of them didn't work, and I didn't want to sound crazy when I said, well, something didn't work. So we've got something new that we can use. And you guys are going to like this, because I really like it. Oh, go back, and go back. All right, so we leave everything the way it is. Now, the developers gave us this really cool tool, and this is all new stuff. This doesn't work on old signs. It only works on the arc sign. So get our little thingies in here, and we're going to do offset, all right, offset equals, and now let's say we want to lower it. We're going to hit negative, let's say 10, 20, 10. Let's do 10. 0.0 slash. Remember, if we're using a decimal, we need a slash behind it, okay? Or if we're using a slash, we need the decimal. Okay, so we do that, hit save. Now it's under, so we'll come over here, and boom, there it is. See, it's under it by that far. There you go. So that's how you do it on the new arc sign. Now, the old way that I was just showing you, that works on old signs still, but it doesn't work on the arc sign. This is how you have to do it on the arc sign if you want to lower your text. All right, now raising the text is actually even easier. So we come up here, get rid of the negative, hit save, and boom, there it is, all the way up top. So there you go. So you can just play around with that and get your offset just perfect, and it'll work for you just fine. All right, so there we go. So that's offset. So let's bring that down a little bit just so that we can have something that's easier to see. I still can't see it. Let's get rid of the offset. All right, offset gone, save, there it goes. All right, now the other thing I've got here is, let's say I don't want it to say text. I want it to say text all the way across. Well, the developers gave us something new on the arc sign that only works on the arc sign also, and it's called width. So come in here, and you'll say width equals some number. Let's call it 5 because it's funny. 5.0 slash. So you need that slash, right? So 5.0 slash, boom. And then there you go. Text. Okay, so there you go. So now you've got your text all the way across. And you can make this pretty big. You can go 100 as far as I know, and just have it as big as you want. So there you go. And this will go on for really a good thing. Now you say, well, where does this come into play for me? Well, let's say, go back. Let's say you wanted to push this way over to one side. I think this will work. No, okay. We haven't really tested that much. I was kind of hoping it did. Maybe if you put like a thing here. Maybe it's just way too wide. In any case, I'm still looking on a way to bump text to the side. So if you guys come up with something, let me know, because I really want to bump my text to the side. I'm tired of being restricted, you know, to having that. Tab, I know, doesn't work. We already tried that. There's a bunch of stuff that we've tried, and it just doesn't seem the way we can bump it over. And that's something we all want to do right now. All right, so that's one. Now, the next big cool thing that they did is, and I'm gonna show you about inputs here in a minute. We're almost there. We're almost there. Is, let's say we say welcome to the forest, comma. Then go in here, make your little squirrely brackets. All right, and then over here maybe put an exclamation point. And now you put player name, just like that, exactly like that, and press save. Now it says, welcome to the forest, PhoenixTalon. Is that cool? Is that cool? Now let's say, oh, well, that looks kind of janky, like, oh, I don't buy it. Let's get that down to 5. Why is we not 3? Okay, see, now this is where you might start running into problems. So what you can do is you come over here and type in \n, get rid of that space there because you don't need a space, and you notice we've got that there. Then you can just adjust the width so that you get it just right. I think, there we go. There you go. That looks better for me because now it's compressed down a little bit more, and it's like the name is important, right? So there you go. Okay, so now that we've got all that taken care of, let's go ahead and start turning this thing on and off. Okay, so I'm going to put a sensor right here, and we're going to make this sensor have a width of 8, a length of, I don't know, 6, a height of 3, no creatures, just players. We're going to go ahead and drag that over to the top, right? So now, when I come up on this, let's say that's buried somewhere, and even the sign could be buried somewhere. I come up to it, and bam, welcome to the forest, PhoenixTalon. And then when I leave, it goes off. Now, you say, well, I don't want it to show my name. I want it to show the other person's name. Well, that's what this does. Player name gives you whoever is looking at the sign's name. So I might see this as PhoenixTalon because that's me. But if somebody else came up to this and they looked at it, they would see their name, not my name. You see how that works? So that's what player name is. Okay, so now you've seen that we can go ahead and add a player name to it, and I mean, that's pretty cool. So now let's go ahead and add something else. All right, I want this and that, and I want this and that. Okay, now we're going to put number pad in the block, and we get 4. Now we have 4 inputs here. All right, we've got 1, 3, 2, and 4. Okay, so odds on one side, evens on the other. So we got 1, 3, 2, and 4. And you're like, well, okay, that's great. What does that mean for me? And actually, I want to make this a little bit bigger. Actually, no, it's fine. Yeah, that's good. That's fine. I think we can see it in our screen, right? Yeah. All right, so what does this do for us? Well, now what I can do is I can start having my curly brackets again, and I can put 1. Now what that's going to do is it's going to give me the output. Well, I'm going to get the input from it, but it's going to give me the output of whatever's plugged into input 1. In this case, we've got a number pad. All right, so when I do this, it's going to go, let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Enter. Now I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. Now, I think if I do reset, it will 1, 2, 3. Yeah, there it goes. So you can have it do the number and then change back to 0 if you want. Okay, so that's just one option you can do. All right. I don't want to do that right now because I want to actually demonstrate what this is good for. So I get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can enter a number in, and then there it is. And you're like, okay, that's great. So what? What can I do with that? Well, you can do some fun stuff with this. Let's say you want to say, let's see. You go score, and let's get rid of player name. I don't. Well, I don't know. There we go. There you go. Score for PhoenixTalon's team is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's a lot of score. That's 12,345. There you go. So you could enter this in as a means of keeping a score for a game. So you would just have a scorekeeper off to the side entering in the score. So if you're playing Pigsy Soccer or something, there you go, right? So that's one option you can do with it. Now another one, this is what I like to do with it. You come up here, and remember what I said. Now, you can't enter letters. You cannot enter letters with the number pad. But what you can do is you can do 1, 2. 2 means we're going to get input from number 2, right? And 3 means we're going to get input from number 3. Okay? So down here, what I want to do is actually see what we entered in. So I'll get my curly brackets, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so now we can see what we enter in. All right, but this, you won't be able to see it. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to give this a 99. And so far, nothing, right? We got a string error. All right, that's what an error looks like, by the way. 0, 0, and 42. Clear. 42. Enter. There we go. Oh, did I forget? Oh, 0, 0 doesn't work. That's right. Derp. Well, there you go. You see it firsthand. 0, 0 doesn't work. Boom. Look at that. And now you can see we're showing the hexadecimal that I entered. But I entered 991142. And that's the color 991142. So you can actually enter in your colors. Now, let's say you didn't want to do that. And you just wanted to enter in, you know, one full string of colors. So we'll go ahead and do that with number 4. Okay, so what I did there, if you can see, is I typed in sharp and then curly brackets and 4 in the middle. So we're going to save that. And we're going to come over here and we're going to do 558811. Enter. There you go. And we're showing it at the end here because down here I've got 4. There you go. So we could, let's enter spaces so you can kind of see the separation. There we go. So you can see the separation here that we've got. And why is it this color and not the color above? Well, because it overrides. That's the other thing to keep in mind. Whatever happens first gets executed first. Whatever happens next under that is what's executed next. So in order, it's doing the width, it's doing the size, then it's doing that first string of color, then it's doing the next string of color, then it's doing the player's name, then it's doing all of these. Okay, so it's doing all that in that order. So that's pretty cool. So there you go. Now, what's the last part of this that I'm going to show you? Well, the last part is, let's get rid of these. So I'm hoping you got that. All right, the color thing is pretty cool. All right, let's get rid of these. And let's do this. And we'll go ahead and do these. Do these. Now this is going to really change things. We're going to throw a lot of string errors because of what we have entered in. So we go here, string error, and all this, and you say we've got a 1 here. All right, let's do these, and this even. All right, so yeah, we've got a string error up top because that's not a valid color. 1111 is not a valid color. All right, it needs 3 pairs or 6 digits in order for the color to work. All right, so neither one of those is a valid color. All right, but if you look at that, there you go. We've got this right here, and that's showing the inputs coming off of here. So what can I do with that? Well, there's a couple of things. 1. Let's get rid of the color because that's going to get annoying. All right, the width for that, not the width, the size rather. Come over here and do a size, and we'll do 1 there. All right, let's do another one here, and we'll do a 2. Okay, and then here, let's come in here and do a 3, and we'll just ignore 4 for the moment. Okay, so now, oh, you know what we should do though? Width is maybe 10. There we go. That way we can see it. And this, let's just go ahead and remove this. I think we get the idea with the sensor. All right, there you go. Now you can see the whole thing. All right, so it made it very large, didn't it? All right, so let's go ahead and get rid of some of these. So that made it very small. Now, why did it do that? Well, let me show you. Because 1 is the 0 to the left, all right, the first input, and we just made it a 0. So that number is now 0. So what we've effectively done is tell it to make the size 1.1, which is tiny, right? Okay, so let's save that. So we turn that back on. Now the size is 11. All right, let's get rid of 2, and it got a little bit smaller because the 11 now went to being a 10. And then if we get rid of this, you shouldn't notice much of a difference because it only dropped a 0.1. Okay, so that's just something that you can do, and there you go. You can tell just a little bit the change, right? So there you go. And then that one makes it really tiny. So we're at 0.1 right now. That's 0.1 text. You're like, if you can read this. All right. And then if you do that, that's 0. All right. So that's a size, man, you can barely see it. It looks like a pixel. This size 0 text. Okay. So there you go. And then that's size 10 again. Okay. So you can really play with this and have some fun with it. All right. Just understand that there are a lot of fun things that you can do with this, and you don't have to be scared of these things. Okay. Just remember how to write your commands and how to, have fun with it. But also remember, if you're throwing a string error, you might be doing something a little bit wrong, and that's okay. You're allowed to do that. That's, part of life. But, don't be afraid to ask questions of people and all that. And don't be afraid of the arc sign. The arc sign is a really powerful tool, and it's really awesome. I love these things. And I'm going to be using them a lot more in my builds. I just haven't because signs are easier. and they're cheaper to build. But these are very powerful, and you can do a lot with them. I think it would be really cool to walk into a chest room where, all the chests are not labeled. You walk in, a sensor knows that you're there, and then boom, all the arc signs turn on. Or the arc signs turn on in front of the chest that you're standing in front of, right? So I don't know. Have some fun with it. See what you can do with it. I think these are cool things, and you can do a lot with it. So anyway, that's all the video that I've got for you. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you followed along with it, and I hope it was informative for you. And I really do hope you won't be afraid of these arc signs because they're very powerful tools. So again, thank you for watching. I appreciate it. Until next video, peace.